Hi, David again from concertblogger.com. Today I have the pleasure of sitting down with the band Samantha from Brooklyn now, but originally from Chicago. These two of you are originally from Chicago. Why don't you introduce yourself, tell me what you do in the band?
My name is Mike, I sing and play guitar.
My name is Gabe, I play the drums.
And I'm Alex, I sing and play bass.
All right, great. Well, thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule. I know it is really busy here coming up, and I appreciate you sitting down with us. So why don't you start by telling me how you guys first got into music? Was there a lot of music in your house? Were your parents into music? What was your first exposure to saying, hey, you know, this is something I really dig. What's up with this?
I guess both of my parents were really into music. Like, we had a lot of vinyl in the house, both my mom's house and my dad's house. Child of the 90s, I listened to a lot of radio, and I still have a quite extensive CD collection. So I don't know, for me, I remember as a kid, I just consumed music very voraciously, and all I wanted to do was play like half of the people that and punk rock was one of the things I got into early, because you didn't have to be very good to start.
You didn't have to be very good to be a punk rocker.
Not on the front end. So yeah, all I wanted was a guitar. I used to actually write bands to try to see if they would give me their guitars instead of smashing them on stage and things of that nature.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very ingenious.
Yeah. So
I have a problem. This is a way for me to get past it.
Yeah. And so it took a while, but eventually I got a guitar. I had taken piano as a kid, so I sort of had musical inclinations from the early get-go. But guitar didn't happen until high school, and then since then I've just sort of been fooling around in bands and playing.
And that's it. And that's life.
Yeah.
And how are you guys?
Well, early on, I listened to a lot of crap, like hard rock radio and Weird Al was kind of when I was like...
Weird Al. You know what? Weird Al's not crap. He's good.
Like 10 years old, and my older brother was quite a bit older than me, and he had, tastes, and so I guess he kind of introduced me to music. And then when I was, around that age, 10, 12, I started listening to things I liked.
And how did you get into drums?
We had a drum set. My older brother had a drum set in our house that he never used. He played it a little bit for about a year, and it was sitting there. And so I had a friend down the street who played guitar, and I had drums, and we started playing. And
hey, there you go. I got drums. Again, another ingenious solution to a problem. I don't know what I'm playing. I happen to have drums. I guess that's what I'm playing. And lastly,
I guess my dad had a guitar, so he always played guitar when we were little kids and stuff. It's kind of, when I was really little though, I was really into rap.
Okay.
Like basically exclusively. But I memorized all the words to Two Live Crew album. I don't know how old I was, maybe, I don't know, 8, maybe 10.
10, yeah, well.
It said all those words to a girl. So the principal called my parents, sat me home. My parents sat me down and folded out a little piece of paper of the words. Made me read it in front of me, totally shamed me. It took away all my rap types.
And that was in your rap days. But, well, you knew there was music in there somewhere. It wasn't the words, it was the beat. Bassist, of course.
Yeah.
So what kind of music were you guys into? What kind of influences do you have for the band? Any particular artists that you specifically find as influences for your sound?
I always say, I think we're a nice, again, just, overgeneralizing, a nice bluntly brush strokes as far as there's a little bit of, like I said before with punk rock, there's the Clash in there and Jawbreaker, I like a lot of that, sort of like darker, elements of guitar rock. So I don't know, everything always feels, maybe sometimes a little too Jawbreaker to me, but I don't think that you guys would necessarily agree with that. But yeah, things, I think we like to be, a lot of what we do, I think, reminds you of 90s music, but we don't want to sound like a 90s band. So there's always like Pixies and Nirvana. I think a lot of that is the stuff that Elastica, bands like that I was really into when I was younger, that I think I sort of ingested into my music persona, and I have never been able to shake even when I try. So I think there's always a little bit of that in there, for at least on my end.
Cool. Have you actually met up with Blake from Jailbreaker? I know he's in the New York music scene here. He's always around.
He is. It's crazy. Like when I was younger, Jailbreaker, even though at the time I don't think they really got as much of attention as they did after they broke up, but I loved Jailbreaker, and everything he's done since. Jesse Brazil, the band he's in now, Forgetters are fantastic. So he's sort of been like that larger than life figure for me for a long time. And after moving to New York, I actually I got a chance to speak with him, and he had.
Made sure you got a chance to speak with him.
I did. He was doing an art show and showing some of the stuff that he had painted. A lot of he's very into that like poetry and art.
He's a writer.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a really cool event, and I was actually standing in line, and for the bathroom with him as well as smoking a cigarette. And so that was like it was one of those things where it's like it was totally normal, but at the same time that little kid in me was like, right. And then a few months later, Gabe and I were taking the subway home from practice, and Blake was on the subway, like across from us, and it was one of the things where, like, immediately I went back to being like a little kid in here, and I just sat there like in silence, and then Blake got off, and I was like, that was Blake from Jailbreaker, and Gabe's like, is that why you were being so weird? And I'm like, that's so weird.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I think that's such a great thing about like New York City, and the vibe and the fact that you can see your childhood idol on the subway train just kind of hanging out because he's just a person,
Exactly.
And it makes you realize that if he could do the things that he did, why can't I do the things that I want to do and be anything? And I think that's what New York City does for me, especially, is that people say you can make it anywhere. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, and I think it's the exact opposite. I think if you can make it anywhere, you can make it here because there's so much opportunity.
Right.
So you guys are doing going to South by Southwest in a couple of weeks. That's part of your busy schedule here.
Right.
And what are you guys doing there? You get a lot of. I know you've been there a couple of times already. Mm-hmm. What's your experience been like there?
I was just describing it earlier today as the best and worst week of your life. You get to do a lot of really cool things and see a lot of really great music. It's like music overload. You get to play a lot of really good shows, see a lot of really good shows, run around. The weather's fantastic, but it's so like just condensed into these this few
bursts of energy.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that I always look back on fondly. But at the time while I'm there, I'm having like extreme highs and lows of frustration and enjoyment at the same time. Yeah.
Exactly. One of the things that a lot of people say that you go to be discovered, but I almost think that now it's gotten to a point with South by where you have to be a big band already to get there, and it's a little weird that it's changed like that, and there's so many other things going on around it and all these other shows that I think the main part of it is almost like, okay, we're going to do that, but it's really all the little shows all around the place.
Definitely.
That are more conducive to making good music and making good business partnerships and stuff. So in the band, how do you guys go writing songs? What's your songwriting process like?
I don't know. What do you guys think?
We sort of, me and Mike each both write like pieces of stuff at home.
Okay.
And then record it just at home, just little pieces, bring them in, and then we all three kind of kick it around until.
So it's like everybody does a little thing, and then you put it in the mixer and see how everybody.
Yeah, I mean there's no like oh, I wrote this song and here's how this song goes. Yeah, that's a pretty apt description. I think one of us comes up with a hook or like a little bit that then sort of like fleshes itself out. And this record, the new record, especially I think is the most collaborative bit of music that we've done. There's really nothing in there that's not stamped
with everyone's signature is on it. So speaking of the new album, it's called Hourglass Noise. It's just come out?
It's coming out April. So
in April?
They come out on the 21st, and we're doing the record release show on the 24th in Brooklyn.
And it's a full length?
Full length, 13 songs, yeah.
Awesome. That's such a difficult thing to pull off nowadays, it seems.
We were going to do like 16, but then we cut it down.
Well, it depends on how long the songs are,
Right.
But it seems like nowadays the music industry has turned to this. You have to get it done yourself. It's not like there's all these helping hands waiting for to you're in the system and they're waiting to pull you along. It's almost like you have to propel yourself along a lot more so now. And so how did it come about that you are doing the album? Is it something self-done or?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. We worked with the producer. I think this is just we really wanted to get this record, good and out. It's the first thing we did here in as a band in New York. So some of the ideas were from the transition from Chicago to here, and then
great time to write music.
Exactly.
Is when there's upheaval in your
there
life.
was this whole period of time where I was the first one out here, and guys were flying in and out for shows between Chicago and here. So I think that it was really all about making this our first stamp and sort of a rebirth of the band. As far as doing it ourselves, we had pretty much everything focused, laser focused and written as to how we wanted to do it when we came into the studio.
There's no time to mess around in the studio.
No,
you gotta have it done before you get there.
Luckily, our producer is a friend of ours, and he's more focused on, which is great as far as a helping hand goes. He doesn't log hours in the studio. Eric Braun is the producer. He has a studio in Greenpoint called Braun Studios, and he's more project based. So it's more about this is what you guys want to do. This is about how much it would cost for my time, and then it's more about just if it takes a million years, we'll still it'll,
yeah, it is what it is. It's more of an artistic thing rather than he's doing it for a living.
Right.
And I think that when you get hooked up with people like that, that's really when you can really make some headway in this industry, because it's not the type of 9-to-5 job that you clock in and clock out.
Right.
It's one of the things a lot of people DIY, but I think it's in a place like this, it's DIT, do it together.
Yeah.
And then you hook yourself up with other bands. I know I've seen some of the other bands that you guys have played with around the city, and they feel the exact same way. And I know them, and it's a new way of doing things now, but I think it's a better way.
I like that, DIT, because there's still a very DIY aspect to feel to everything that when you're working under the I don't know, in the parameters in which a band who's
exactly.
But at the same time, we're not just burning CDs and throwing them out of our trunk. It is
everybody. You're supporting other bands. You're going to their shows.
Artists and other people in the industry who are there to help. They want to be part of your project, and you want their work to get out. And it's DIT. I like it.
Exactly. So other than the South by Southwest shows, I see you have some other stuff coming up. In some other shows coming up recently?
Yeah.
In the near future?
I
know you said something about the record release show and...
Yeah. When we get back from Austin, we're doing the record release show April 24th at Cameo Gallery in Brooklyn with some bands that we're really, really excited about.
Great little venue, I love Cameo.
Yeah, it's a good spot to do. So that's the 24th, and then we're playing Rock Shop on May 2nd, and then Matchless on May 30th. And then at that point I think we're looking at June right now to we're just talking about playing in Wilmington, doing some other East Coast stuff, and getting ready for the summer tour.
Awesome. Now I know one of the problems that I ran into a little bit when I first heard about this interview and wanted to check you out was your website. So why don't you give us your website so we make sure that it gets out there correctly?
Yes. Everything except for Facebook on all of our socials is Samantha Noise, one word. So the website, samanthanoise.com, Instagram, Samantha Noise, Twitter, Samantha Noise. And once Mark Zuckerberg lets us change the handle on Facebook,
Facebook has got some real big rules.
So we're sort of stuck there. But if you're looking for us on Facebook, everything can link to the other stuff.
Of course.
You'll find us. But it's Samantha is a Punk is the hashtag.
Samantha is a Punk. I was very happy to see that too, because when I first saw I was interviewing Samantha, I thought, the next big pop princess. Now I have to, and then I saw Samantha's a Punk. I was like, thank you. Awesome.
That reaction is exactly why the band is called what it is.
Awesome.
That's what I like to.
Well, that's exactly the reaction that I had. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us, and wish you all the best of luck at South by, and finding the right connections, and therefore with the new album, we're really looking forward to it. We'll make sure we tell people about it when it comes out. And thanks so much for sitting down with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.